Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 3. And today, I'm gonna be giving you part 5 of What If Naruto Awakened the Yellow Rinnegan after his exile. Remember to get this one to 200 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto was blamed and it changed him guys over an Anime King. Link will be at top of the description for you guys to enjoy. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice and you enjoy the videos, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be planning talking about all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say begin this new episode? Start the intro. So the last time we left off, Sakura was depressed. Sad on the inside, it has been a couple of trying years, as she has chased away her only friend. Yes, she knew about the exile, but if it wasn't for her, she could have had the opportunity to talk to him before he left. They could have done something to try and help him in some way, but she chased him away because of Sasuke. As she didn't know her feelings about Sasuke at the moment, after what he said to her before he once again left. As she didn't even know where he was. But she has trained, she has gotten stronger as she was determined to get stronger so that she would bring the two of them back so Team 7 can return to normal one day. The only reason why Tsunade is still going is because of Naruto. Yes, she believed that with her, well, Hokage status, that soon she will find a way to do something to bring him back to the village. When they find him, that is. But she was incredibly depressed, going every day to a job and not hearing that little brat call her Bachan. It was truly putting a damper on her mood, as everyone in the village has changed, all of the rookies that knew him. As for the rest of the village, it was like nothing happened. Most of them not even noticed that the blonde was missing. Meanwhile, Sasuke was still doing his training with Orochimaru, getting stronger by the day. He was also curious about the blonde, but Orochimaru found nothing on him. Another person was Jiraiya, who was rather depressed, feeling like he failed Minato more ways than one, as he could not find Naruto. Speaking of Naruto, Naruto was still training with Kaido. As years passed, Naruto gets stronger and learned about his Rinnegan even more. His eyes, these serpents that came from his body. He was still unaware of what exactly they did to him with the Kyuubi, but they changed him in some way. As the power of the Kyuubi was filtered out of him into his chakra, but it was like the demon was no longer there. But the seal was still there, but he needed a key to pull it, as he didn't know exactly what key that he needed. But he could use roughly around 25% of the Fox Chakra, as Kaido knew that Naruto was going to be leaving. After all, he couldn't stay here and rebuild the Uzumaki clan. As Kaido went down the mountain, Naruto was attacked. It was Pain. After the dialogue, the both of them started a battle. A tremendous battle that blew Kaido off the mountain. Despite Pain having the Rinnegan for so long, he was quite surprised that one boy was only able to activate his eyes recently, and yet gave him this fight, as Naruto enhanced his speed to the limit where he was able to take out 3 of Pain bodies with one quick movement, shocking Nagato where he was. But the fight still ended with Nagato coming out on top, showing his advance with experience, trumping Naruto's power despite Naruto Rinnegan being a lot more stronger. But at the moment, Naruto hasn't unlocked the full capability of what his Rinnegan possesses, seeing that Nagato also didn't have the serpents that came from him, those hollow serpents that did something strange to everyone's chakra around him. Nagato felt on Naruto's stomach. He didn't know what the boy did, but the Kyuubi, the power, was no longer able to be removed from Naruto, as that was rather shocking. Naruto spoke to him. Considering that Pain was going to kill him, Naruto asked him why did he want the Kyuubi, as Pain told him about the weapon that he was going to build. As Naruto asked him to go after the villages that wiped out the Uzumaki for him, considering that he was going to take his life at the moment, as he wanted to make them pay. Over the past years, Naruto has changed drastically, as this world has caused him so much pain, and he wanted to take his revenge out on them. Pain looked at Naruto as he saw an image of himself, as he then asked Naruto a question that will change the entire elemental nations. He wanted Naruto to join the Akatsuki. So yeah guys, so it's basically that's where we left off. You guys can switch across the page and check it out for yourself. So let's begin this new episode. In a dark cave, someone was leaning up against a wall as they were sitting down, as the person was just there, not doing anything, seeming just relaxing. The earth beside the person's feet then shifted as someone came from the ground. It was none other than Black Zetsu, with his white half with him. As Zetsu turned towards the person there, he made his encounter, and as you suspected, he came out on top. Despite these unknown eyes, there really was much of a chance that the Jinchuriki would have won. Well, it was close. He brought him down to 2 bodies. What? Yes. Only the Tendo and Prida Path had remained when he subdued him. Well, it doesn't matter, the person said. Although, those eyes are going to be really interesting in the long run. Where is he? I'm afraid that the situation has changed. What do you mean? The boy Renegons gave him a strange ability. I am not sure myself, but he was able to completely rewrite the Kyuubi chakra somehow into his own system, regardless of it being inside the seal. It seems like his eyes are different from Nagato's. What are you saying, Zetsu? There is no way to extract the Ninetale out of his body. The man's fist smashed against the wall, breaking it a bit. What? Is that even possible? Yes. I'm not sure it happened myself, but Nagato tried it. It did not work. Where is he now? Nagato is making him an offer. What offer? To join the Akatsuki. Meanwhile, as Kaido looked towards the downed form of Naruto was still on the ground, Tendo was standing above him with Prida Path beside him. As Naruto was quite surprised. In a million years, he would have never expected this to be the outcome of their battle. He knew that he was strong. After his training, the things that he picked up on, even Kaido was shocked how quickly Naruto gained these abilities. Is Rin gonna allow him to access all forms of nature, repel and absorb chakra? But this man had it long before him, and despite Naruto's skills, for 2.5 years now of training, non-stop intense training, different from whatever he has done in his life before, pain still bested him, but the battle was close. But hearing this man offer him to join the Akatsuki was rather surprising. And why would I do that? Naruto asks. Because, Uzumaki, I see it in your eyes as well. As Naruto focused his eyes on the man, Naruto's hand was outstretched towards Kaido to stop him from interfering. As Kaido was standing there wondering what was going on, he was a bit of distance away so he could not hear them fully. As he sent chakra to his ears, "You see in my eyes," said Naruto. "You said to yourself, only by achieving great pain that we can achieve these eyes. I gained these eyes while I watched my parents got murdered. And you, I can see it, you have experienced that same pain. Something to hurt you badly. And in yourself, I see myself as well. More ways than one. We're nothing alike," said Naruto. "And that's where you're wrong." As Tendo looked at him, "The Ninetales is no longer accessible. It would be best if I kill you now, knowing the threat that you must pose. But after all that Konoha has done to you, disregarding you like you were trash, and the hatred I now see within you for those villages that wiped out the Uzumaki, can you really say that this world deserved to be spared?" Naruto said nothing as the man continued his speech. Pain and suffering will always be in this world unless someone stops it. The goal of the Akatsuki is dangerous the most. The progress, the wave here is dangerous. But what we seek is peace. Peace, said Naruto. Yes. You thought I was going to use this weapon of mine to control the world. In fact, you're wrong. I wish to use this weapon to make them realize that same pain that we went through. That same pain that forced us to grow up, to understand this world a lot better. In your naive state, you would have never asked me to attack those villages, even with your dying breath. But look at you now. You have certainly changed. So if you can stand there and tell me that the world does not need to change, I will end your life and put you out of your misery of carrying on with your goal. But Naruto said nothing. Then you understand, Uzumaki. This world needs to change. By only feeling the pain and suffering shall this world learn to grow and realize. And with helping me with that goal, I can also help you with yours. Why would you do that, said Naruto? Why would you care about the Uzumakis? You can already tell that this is not my real form. Yes, I can see the chakra pathways going off into the distance. Come with me, said Tendo. As Naruto looked at him, as he was freed from his bonds, he could get up at any time, but he just chose not to move. Naruto slowly got to his feet as Kaido gripped onto his blade. In a split second, Naruto's tails extracted out. Another benefit from the Kyuubi, Naruto chakra rebuilt at an intense rate, different than his usual chakra would take, as Naruto's tails lashed out towards Tendo, each of them going at a vital area, but Tendo did not even move. As Naruto's tails stopped inches away from him, the Prida Path also stood there. Why didn't you try to dodge, Naruto asked. You know I could have killed you, right? And in all of this. Because, despite your flare of attitude, I know you want the same thing as well. As Tendo started to walk, Naruto said Kaido. Naruto turned towards the man. I gave him a nod that everything would be alright. And with that, him and Pain took off. Time skip. Konan was shocked. Yes, Konan couldn't believe this little, development. When Nagato had opened his eyes and remained quiet, she thought that he had subdued the 90-year Jinchuriki and was coming back. But she instantly went on guard when she saw Tendo step in the hideout and the Prida Path. But they were not alone. Konan, it's okay. What do you mean? As she looked towards Nagato, as he just gave her a nod to calm down. As Naruto stood there, Naruto was surprised as he looked at Nagato. What happened to you? He said. As Nagato was in a worse state than he thought. This is the suffering and pain I put my body through in order to achieve my goals. Now you can see how serious and indebted I'm about to accomplish my dreams. As Naruto stepped deeper into the cave, as he noticed a blue-haired woman with her golden eyes, but he did not acknowledge her being there. His full attention was on Nagato. You're here. You said you were connected in more ways than one. A friend of mine, a family member actually told me that these eyes of mine were a myth in the Uzumaki clan, something that was only seen once in generation, and the first wielder never used them, taking on peace instead of war before he died of unknown circumstances. Am I wrong to presume that because if you're already here, that you're Uzumaki? That is where you're correct. My name is Nagato Uzumaki. That sent Naruto for a loop. Another member of his clan. We are bred from the same clan. My parents fled Uzu. They were one of the few survivors who made their way out of the village before the complete destruction, where they move on and settle down in the Hidden Rain. Times were hard and difficult for them, of course, but they made it through. So, as you can see, as I said, we're connected in more ways than one. The Breathe Path and Tendo Pain went as they leaned up against the wall, their eyes closing. You've become so much more stronger. If you wanted to, you could have went back to Konoha. Not by force, but you could have at least have a talk with the Hokage, despite being banished in the Fire Nation. With the power you just shown, there is no Konoha shinobi, I believe, that could handle your power. You were able to face off against me. The only problem I see that might stand in your way is Jiraiya Sensei. Wait, what? Did you just say Sensei? Yes. That is another way in which we're connected as well. No, Naruto was confused. Jiraiya was my sensei before yours. He was the one that taught me about this world. Now I know you're lying, said Naruto as he looked at Nagato. Despite the old pair of ways, I know that he would never teach you to do something like this. Are you mistaking Jiraiya Sensei for someone else? No. I'm afraid he was the one that first taught me about the world. But it was a pain that forced me to grow up. He taught me, but the pain let me understood. You and I have went through the same thing. The loss of someone that changed us to a different path. And if you still believe that we're different, I will tell you about my past. And I want you to tell me what brought this change onto you. And then, and only then, I want you to tell me what do you think of this world now. Naruto nodded as Konan stood there, as Nagato started to relay his story to Naruto. As Konan was rather surprised that Nagato was just willing to tell him all of this, not to mention bring him here. Did he really see something in this boy that he can fully trust? Konan wasn't so sure. Not too long ago this boy was with Konoha. As the stories then exchanged, Konan was reminiscing as she heard about the boy life. As it made her thought about her friend Yaiko. As her eyes narrowed towards a body that was leaned up against a wall, the body of Yaiko. As Naruto told his story about Kenny and also Hana. As Naruto noticed the emotion shown across Nagato's face when he spoke about the man in the black clothing and the white mask. But Nagato did not interrupt his story, as Nagato told him about his life as well. As Naruto finally ended upon what happened. And then we fought. I know I'm here, said Naruto. We were just innocent to the world. And this world has shown us that we need to grow up. The both of us in more ways than one. So tell me now, Naruto Uzumaki. Do you still believe the world shall stay the same way that it is? Do you still believe that there is a hope of finding peace other than force them to grow up like we did? Do you still believe that hope can be everlasting without showing them, without making them experience pain? Because that was the only way that you grew. Can you tell me that I'm wrong? As Nagato stopped, waiting for Naruto to answer. But instead of answering right away, Naruto spoke about something else. When I told you about the guys that killed my friend, the ones that came after me, I saw the emotions in your face. Who were they? As I told you about my past, I had told you that Hanzo betrayed us. But the reason that we found out recently was, he betrayed us because of Danzo. What? As that name brought back an image in her head. The old cripple that Daimyo was agreeing with so much. He was a ruler of a background organization known as Root. I was surprised to hear your description because I thought that Root was disbanded. But if it's not, And Danzo is still alive, that man is the one that is still in charge. But why would the Hokage allow him to do something like that? Your third Hokage was very lenient with Danzo. But I'm not sure about the fifth. As Naruto stood there. No, he said. What? Said Nagato. I don't believe that this world can change without them understanding. Because if it wasn't for this, I would have still been that naive, idiotic kid that was still in Konoha. So my answer is no. Then, now do you see what I'm trying to do for this world? So all that remains is your answer. Will you join the Akatsuki? Time skip. You're going? Said Melissa. As Naruto ruffled, Melissa's here. And with that, she pouted. You know I don't like that. And that's why I keep on doing it, said Naruto. As he was on one knee, she rushed in as she hugged him. I don't want you to go, she said. Don't worry, I'll pass by every now and then to check up on you guys, okay? But once this is all over, I'm gonna be taking you guys back with me to Osu. Wait, Osu? Yeah, said Naruto. Sorry I didn't tell you about this. You know that I'm gonna be rebuilding back the clan though. Yeah, she said. Well, of course you guys are coming with me. After all, I can't leave my family behind, he said. As a big smile spread across her face. So, you're gonna rebuild the clan? And we're all gonna live there? As Naruto looked towards Kaya, who smiled at him. Well, yes, he said. As she hugged him tight again. I'm gonna miss you, she said. Be careful out there, okay? I will, he said. Don't worry. You just take care of your mom and dad, okay? As she nodded. As Naruto got up to his feet, as he walked over towards Kaya. Thank you for everything. And being there for me as well. Kaya stepped in as she hugged him. No need to be so formal. We are family after all. And I'm glad that we met you. I'm glad that you came here. And for all that you're doing. I wish you all the safe journey on your trip out there. Take care of yourself, okay? And remember, come and visit us. Don't be a stranger. Oh, I will, said Naruto. As he then broke the hug and turned towards Kaido. As he stepped forward, in that instant, Kaido unsheathed his blade as he brought it down to bear on Naruto's neck. As Naruto's tail came out in that second, his tail was different, only one that came out. The thing looked like it was made up of stone as it blocked the strike. Fast as ever I see, said Kaido. As Naruto's tail returned back normal and went away. As Naruto smiled at him, as he extended his hand, Kaido gripped it with a firm hold. Take care of yourself, kid, he said. And I know you can do it. As Naruto smiled at the three of them, as the three of them returned together as a family, and gave him a big warm smile. Bye, Naruto, said Melissa, as she waved. As Naruto smiled at all of them before he headed off. As it was time for him to leave. But he wouldn't be leaving alone. As Naruto made his way towards a mountaintop that he fight Nagato on, the paths of Nagato. The destruction was still there, but none of the paths' body remained. A few torn clothing of the Akatsuki though. As Naruto stood there, waiting. As he waited, and waiting, until he saw one paper came down. That paper called more. As the paper started to form together, until the woman was visible. As she stood there with something in her arm. As she looked at Naruto, as he was simply wearing a black t-shirt, black pants. For someone that was only 15-year-old, almost 16. As in a month he will be 16, Naruto was rather large. As he looked like a full-grown man. It was the inception of what the Kyuubi did to his body. That was the main deal. Why he had so much muscles now, and tall. His long hair going down into his back, and his eyes shining, as you could see the power that you were holding. As Naruto stepped forward towards Konan, as she presented him the robe. As Naruto looked at it, he then looked at her finger. So, where's my ring, he asked. You don't get one, she said. Why not, he asked. The 10th ring of the Akatsuki was stolen by Orochimaru on his departure. The Akatsuki will strike in 5 months. After Nagato finish testing her Rinnegan to see what it's fully capable of, you and I will go after Orochimaru. So what you're saying, I'm not an original member yet, Naruto asks. And what makes you presume that, she asks. Because Jiraiya had told me that Akatsuki were in pair of 2. Given the pair of Kisame and Itachi I saw so far, the rest should be in pairs as well. And given that you just told me that you and I will be going after Orochimaru, I think that you don't have a personal member as well. Nagato can surely handle himself against any Jinchuriki. So who is your partner, Naruto asks. Well, you're right about that, she said. But after your little visit with Nagato, you should be able to wield the Rinnegan, yours, to your full capability. And by then, we shall retrieve the ring from Orochimaru. Our spy has been locating him recently, and he's very close. By the time your training is over, you shall be ready. Naruto simply nodded as he took the cloak away from her, as he flushed it out, before putting his one hand through, as his other hand through as well, as it covered him. Back at Konoha, Tsunade didn't know why, but she felt a chill run down her spine, like something was just completely off with the world. But it wasn't her alone. Jiraiya, Sasuke, Sakura, the members of his academy that was with him, as everyone felt a strange feeling, like the world was pushed off balance for a moment or something, as they were confused in what this feeling was. At the moment, Sakura got up from her bed as she walked over towards the dresser, as her hand tapped on something as something fell off the dresser, hitting the floor. Her eyes went wide. She quickly went to pick it up. It was a photo of Team 7, the photo that she has come to treasure so much, with her, Naruto, Sasuke and Kakashi. But the moment she picked it up though, there was a huge crack right where Naruto's face was. Sakura didn't really believe in, well, superstitions like Tsunade, but the feeling that she just felt. And now this. Time skip. Did you guys phone Orochimaru and kill him already? Or does he still have the ring with him? Who is this new member of the Akatsuki? Asked Hidan, as him and the others were gathered, as they all want to know who the new member was. Don't tell me that this is Blockhead, as Hidan looked towards Toby. Toby is still not the official member yet, said Toby as he stood there. Toby is really sad that Toby got looked over. Maybe, because you're an idiot, said Hidan. Hey, that's not nice, Hidan senpai, said Toby. This is a waste of time. I should be out collecting bounties. Who the hell is this? It must be someone quite special. I didn't even know that we were recruiting. After all, can't we perform the sealing when the time is ready? Whoever it is, the leader seemed quite interested, given that he called all of us here to see this new person, said Sasori. Must be some missing name from some village, said Deidara. It doesn't matter who it is. My art will always remain on top. And you don't even know who it is, and your art will remain on top. What if this person had your specific weakness, asked Sasori. As Deidara simply grunted, as he didn't say anything. It was then that footsteps could be heard, as Tendo stepped inside. Everyone, he said, as he turned his head. I see you're all gathered. As I have told you all, over the holograms, there will be a new member joining the Akatsuki. Is it Toby? Toby shouted, as Pain simply glanced towards him. You're not saying anything. Didn't you already say that you were overlooked, said Hidan. Be quiet. Toby is sad now, as Toby went down the ground. As they then heard footsteps making their way. As a person stopped, revealing himself, the light shining behind him as he stopped in the doorway, reflecting off him, making him look quite majestic. As a couple of eyes narrowed, confused, as they were told about the Jinchurikis. Deidara had, well, been surprised that Itachi had failed to capture his target, the nine-tailed Jinchuriki host. And that was rather surprising, being him being just a pipsqueak. But the thing that he remembered was the three whisker marks. Is this a joke? Said Deidara. If I'm not mistaken, blue eyes, blonde hair, and those marks. Isn't that the nine-tailed Jinchuriki? Yes, said Pain. What? Said Sasori. Why would he join our cause? Because he no longer possesses the nine tails. Zetsu hasn't reported to any of you guys. Only me. Naruto here has been banished from his village for circumstances that I'm not really going to go into at the moment. And the nine tails is no longer within our grasp. What? So, it's just gonna put everything to shambles? If we can't get the nine tails, ask Deidara. No. You don't have to worry about anything. Our goal is still there. You are still to hunt each of the tail beasts. But Itachi and Kisame, your target has come to a switch. Given that the nine tails Jinchuriki is now out of our grasp. So as from today, Naruto, Uzumaki will be a member of the Akatsuki. As Kisame walked forward, this is rather surprising, he said. The last time I saw this brat, he was just a pipsqueak who had to be saved by Jiraiya. But now, I can tell that he's changed. Those eyes. They look like yours, Leader Sama. Indeed they do, but they're different. Naruto will be reporting with Konan. Sasori, the information that you managed to gather so far, send it to Konan by Zetsu. What? I am no longer assigning you to capture Orochimaru and kill him. This job will be going to Naruto. What? Said Sasori. But I'm the one who's supposed to be hunting down that bastard. Sasori, it is final. And with that, Dendo simply walked away, not really caring what he thought otherwise. Itachi said nothing through this whole ordeal, as he just kept on looking at Naruto. Glancing, Naruto paid no attention. In fact, he really didn't care about any of these guys. The only thing he cared about was Nagato's promise. As Nagato had made him a promise when he said yes to join the Akatsuki, that was the only thing that he cared about. Two things in fact. So, what's the big change? Asked Kisame as he stepped forward. I really need to know. After all, you weren't much back then. You have grown a bit taller. More height. More muscles, but is it those eyes of yours? Is it that what make you stand out from the brat that you were? He still look like a brat to me, said Hidan. You know, we were going to be coming for you to gut you one of these days. If Kisame and Itachi had failed once again. And now you're right here. If an accident were supposed to happen, for me to gut you by accident, you know, you couldn't really blame me. Is this school day near to ask? Huh? Said Hidan. To pick on the new guy. And what if I am? Do you really think you the pipsqueak can do anything to me? After all, you should know the hierarchies of the Akatsuki. You are currently not even a full member yet. You're new. You should be the one that is taking orders from us. I take orders from no one, said Naruto, as he looked at Hidan. Oh, is that so? So aren't you working for the Akatsuki? Aren't you taking orders from the leader? Naruto said nothing. Hey, I'm talking to you, Hidan said. Hidan, let's go. Nah, Kakazu. This brat needs to learn his place. Now, answer me when I'm talking to you. Hey, he's immortal, so you can lash out as much damage as you want, whispered Kisame. As Naruto narrowed his eyes, Hidan took a big stride as he stepped forward, seeing the leader nowhere around. He wasn't going to kill him, but put him in his place. You know, when I said I'm talking to you, I expect a reply. As he came near to reach and grab Naruto's shoulder. But the moment his hand was inches away from him, Naruto's tails lashed out in split seconds, catching Itachi completely off guard. As they impaled Hidan through his body. As they picked him up and threw him across the room. As his body smashed into a stone statue breaking it down on him. "Oh, now I get it," said Kisame. "Somehow you fused with the Kyuubi or something. Is that it? Because at the beginning you never had these tails." As Naruto started to walk away, seems the brat had really changed. As Deidara looked over towards where Hidan fell, as Hidan picked himself out of the rubble. "You little shit, I'm gonna carve you up into the pieces," he said, as he rushed forward straight towards Naruto, whose back was turned. It was then that it happened. Naruto let some of his power explode out of him. The ground cracked and ruptured under his feet, as his eyes pulsed dangerously. As he turned, Hidan swung his side towards Naruto, completely pissed off now. But it didn't even get close, as a force smashed into Hidan. His body was sent sailing, as the man smashed against the wall, his arms and legs bending in unnatural ways. Despite that, Naruto was a bit surprised that the man was truly immortal. When the next moment he saw the man fixing back his broken limbs like they were nothing. As he got to his feet, but he was still in pain a bit. But he didn't seem to mind it, as it seemed like he has gone through it a lot of times now. "Damn kid, that's just like the leader," said Kisame. "Huh, I see why he took an interest in you now. Well, I guess you know the hierarchy of the Akatsuki, Hidan." As Hidan started to curse, as Kisame simply chuckled, as Naruto walked off, leaving. Time skip. At the Hidden Rain, as Nagato was currently in his mechanical walker. In front of him was none other than Toby. But this time, he wasn't playing the facade of Toby. "Are you sure this is wise?" he asks. As he looked towards Nagato, it would be a waste to just end his life right there and then. The boy has shown incredible talents in what he can do so far. Only a couple of years of training, and he was able to gain this far, without even knowing any real knowledge of the Rinnegan that he possessed. But it's not like you know about it as well. I have once heard stories, a long time ago, from my mother about the Uzumaki clan. Stories that I thought were just bedtime stories, about a man possessing yellow eyes or rupa pattern in them, who never fought. But those eyes were immensely powerful. They were only seen once in the Uzumaki bloodline. But now, there is a second coming, I believe. But are you sure this boy can be trusted? Not too long ago, he was on the side of Konoha. Are you sure that this will work out? I saw it in his eyes. Pain that changed someone for the better. Pain that forced him to grow up. That is what happened to him. Well, if you believe so. But anything that happened, this is on you. Be well to remember that. Did you tell him about me? No. I have not told him anything about you. Good. And make it stay that way. I am not ready for him to find out anything yet. But I see you're taking precautions. Because the person you trust the most is Konan. You're making her watch him, aren't you? As Pain said nothing at that. Good. At least you're not so trusting. We will talk again soon. And with that, he disappeared in a swirling vortex. As Konan was outside, she was just looking up at the rain. As she then came back inside, as she was not a part of this conversation. "What do you think?" asked Nagato. She was one of his closest friends anyway, as he needed to hear our opinion. "I believe that you're right. He has changed in more ways than one. From the vague description that we got of him a long time ago, to now, it's a complete different person. But, does he know about your problem with the Hidden Leaf? No. And for the moment it will stay that way. But, what if he's against it? Konan, that boy that once believed in peace and fight for the Hidden Leaf, told me to use the weapon to nuke the Hidden Stone and carry it. And Kumo not caring about the innocent life that might be there. I know he still might hold some attachment to a few people, but once I have enough time to talk to him and show him what this world and what even Hidden Leaf has done, he will come to understand. As Konan said nothing, as Nagato simply looked at her. For the remaining time he will remain here, until I deem it fit for him to go out there. Zetsu is still working on elites, and also with Sorcery Spine at work. But at the moment everything is calm. But the world shall soon understand the pain that we're going to bring. Time skip 5 months later. The rain was currently pouring, as one Itachi Uchiha was watching the rain fall, thinking about recent events. One of those main topic was Naruto Uzumaki, that boy that he went for all those years ago, that boy that was full of life and so much hope. It seemed to have all drained out of him. He was like a completely different person now. On the rare occasions that he saw him, he knew that the boy had changed completely. Upon finding out what really happened, Itachi had went and find out more, as his focus, his goal was not anywhere near Konoha, as he hadn't been near the Fire Country for a while now, after the whole ordeal with trying to capture the boy himself. But he found out that the boy was exiled. He knew about his stupid little brother, of course. The boy was exiled after their battle. Quite ironic, seeing that his brother still left for Orochimaru. At the moment he wondered, how is his brother? Still trying to gain enough power to come and kill him. It made Itachi rethink a lot of things recently. If Naruto could change to this level, could his brother also change as well? Could him pushing him into the darkness be too far? Could he completely resent everything that he has done for him? Even though Itachi wants Sasuke to hate him, what if this were to backlash and turn against him? And especially turn against Konoha. Despite everything, he doesn't wish for Konoha to be destroyed. He doesn't know Naruto's feelings towards Konoha, as they haven't spoken, not even once. The boy was completely detached to everything. It was time for them to begin their hunt for the tailed beasts. And that was another thing. The boy, he was friends with the Kazekage, wasn't he? After all, the whole ordeal between the sand and the sound and Konoha, he was the one, the main driving force that helped them win that battle of facing off against the Shigaku. So what is his thoughts about going after Gaara? After all, he will die in the extraction. As Itachi was really curious. At the moment, Jiraiya was currently sitting down at a cafe, as he had a piece of paper in his hand, reading through some notes. Jiraiya was troubled, because he got some information recently that troubled him and hit him to his core, but he didn't want to believe it. Spotting a boy wearing the Akatsuki clothing. He had blonde hair and blue eyes, but the prominent feature was the 3 whisker marks that were incredibly thick on his face. But Jiraiya was, well, surprised by the statement of the description given of him. They said that the person looked to be in their late 20s. Naruto was still a teenager, and his height threw Jiraiya off a bit. He knew that Naruto must have grown in the time that he's been missing, but for the description to be that old, he prayed. Yes, that is what he was doing, praying that it was not Naruto. No, there was no way that Naruto would ever think of joining the Akatsuki. He hasn't even told Tsunade about this yet. This must be some false accusation or false sighting or something, or Akatsuki member that looked like Naruto. Yes, they did not know all of the Akatsuki members. The boy has been seen spotted near the coast of the Land of Water, making his way like he was going towards the Hidden Rain or the Hidden Stone. But they lost track of him, as Jiraiya was praying that wasn't Naruto, because if it was, no, it couldn't be. He got up as he shook his head, as he paid for what he had bought, as he was off the search again. He had made his way to a mountain region where he heard that they were battled recently. Battle that shook the entire place. Something that was uncommon for these mountain regions, because these people out here was rather peaceful. No ninja village near around. When he went to investigate, he saw clothing. It had been scampered over and dust all over it, but he saw tiny traces of Akatsuki clothing. The black cloaks were red clouds. He had went and asked where he met a small family there, a samurai, and two women. Well, a woman and her daughter, right here. But they told him that they do not know who he was talking about. As Jiraiya wondered what the Akatsuki was doing up here and who they were fighting. But it seems like he was too late, they were long gone. And he had nothing to pick up from it. The place was completely empty. But as time go by, things just get worse and worse. Despite Naruto's name still being in the scroll, he knew that the boy was alive, but he could not find him. As he sighed in contempt, he just wished wherever Naruto was, he was safe out there. He prayed for his safety. Meanwhile, at the Hidden Rain, a secret training ground, the place was littered with after battle images, as you can see, craters in the ground, scorch and dust marks everywhere, slashes, violent crashes from body impact on the ground. You can tell that this place has been brutalized by training. It would be a surprise to hear that there was only a couple of people that used this place, and yet the damage was so deadly. It was a secret underground training ground, sealed off by seals to make sure that the effects won't hurt the people of the Hidden Rain up on top. Currently down there at the moment, someone was sitting down. 9 flowing tails spread out. His legs crossed as he was meditating, eyes closed. 3 serpents coming from his back. They were doing something in front of him. As over to the corner, Konan was watching. As Konan watched the body in front of him, a ranged shinobi, a man, looked to be in his late 20s. The man was unmoving, as he seemed to be dead, but he was not. One of the dragons were currently phased right inside the man's chest, while the other one was inside his stomach. The dragon inside his stomach pulled back, as it had an orb of chakra inside its mouth, while the dragon inside his chest stood there, not even moving. The chakra out of the man's body was split and pulled out of him, but despite that, the man was not dead. The dragon in his chest then pulsed, as the man's eyes shot open, as he got up with a fright look on his face, as he blinked and looked around rapidly, as he tried to understand what was going on. The last thing he remembered was a hand firmly placed on his head. His eyes rolled back in his head as he collapsed unconscious. "Did you do it?" asked Konan, as she made her way over. "Yes," said Naruto, as he looked at her. "This is quite meaningless." "It's not," said Naruto. "I already told you. This can work out to our advantage in the future. So once we have him, I can do that. But will you not try to help the other Jinchurikis as well?" "You're asking me that knowing that I don't really care about them," said Naruto. As Konan looked at him, in the past 5 months she has been able to, she tried to dissect the mind of Naruto Uzumaki, as Nagato wanted to know if he can truly be trusted, but the boy showed her nothing. When it comes to a certain point, he makes jokes. As he said, if you didn't try to make the best of a day, what's the point of living? But she didn't see it that way, as she was always stoic. But he was sometimes getting on her nerves. But despite that, when he wanted to be serious, he was dead serious. Even going as far as up to challenge her. None of the other Akatsuki members has ever talked to her the way he did. Knowing that pain, she had his full support and his backing, but he didn't really seem to care. As he spoke to Nagato in a matter that none of the Akatsuki members did. His tone not really showing any leadership command. But despite that, Nagato didn't seem to have a problem with the boy. As she looked at him, the reason why he was doing this, as Naruto has figured a lot about his power recently, the dragons especially. He was able to change their chakra signature on a microscopic level. That is why the fox chakra was blended to his body, Naruto had stitched his own chakra into the fox chakra, making it not the fox anymore, but his. That is why when he used it, it was purified by the Preta Path. Despite that, it was still in the cell inside the stomach. An overwhelming amount of it, as he still need a key. But he hasn't talked about it for months now. Konan and Nagato didn't know what he was planning with that. They had no idea. As Naruto was able to copy all of the abilities that Nagato were able to do with his Rinnegan. Yes, he could do them all. But some of them he didn't test out. Well, if he did, Nagato did not saw him. But the boy has truly come a long way. The reason why he was doing this, splitting the chakra, it was to help the Kazekage. Naruto was going to be the founder of Uza once he recreate his homeland. And having the San as an ally would be good. Knowing that the Kazekage owed him for his life despite his organization going after him. As Naruto found a way to literally separate the beast chakra from the user. And that way, doing extraction he would not be killed. Nagato could understand his reasons of wanting an ally of the San. But as long as it did not interfere with the extraction, there was no point of, worrying about it. As Naruto promised him that it would not. And through the past 5 months, Naruto has shown nothing but loyalty towards the cause. As Naruto got to his feet, Konan didn't know why, but she felt like he had something that he was hiding. It was just something about him that she couldn't really understand most of the time, as she became rather fascinated about him, as she wondered how he thinks most of the time, but she can't get a grasp on his mind. He just did things that were out of the ordinary, things that you wouldn't expect for him to do, and he just does them. She shook her head. She was getting off topic. As the spy find the location Naruto asks. Yes, 3 bases. Are you sure you want to go to them now? Data and Sorcerer are going after the Kazekage as we speak. I should be back in time, said Naruto. You speak like you're not coming, he said as he turned towards her. Or do you rather wish to stay here? No. I'll be tagging along, she said. So with that, Naruto stepped past her, as she followed behind him, making her way. As they exit the underground train and made their way up. As they made their way up to the tallest tower. Is it done? Said Nagato. Yes, said Naruto as he stood there. And this will not interfere. No. So what about the others? I don't really care about them, said Naruto. They can die. They do not own a village. So it's not my responsibility. And after all, I'm not the one going after them. Well, given how far you have come, you should have no problem taking care of that snake. So go. Show him what happens when you betray the Akatsuki. Naruto simply nodded as he walked off, as he went towards the edge of the tower. As the rain was pouring, as he stepped out in the rain, none of it was going onto his clothing, as it just ricocheted down him but not touching him the slightest. As he took in a deep breath, mostly here for the past 5 months, but it was helpful, because he has learned things about his eyes that he never expected to learn, and learned things about the world that once again showed him a different path. But still, all that he is doing is for his own self-interest, despite seeing Nagato as also a part of his goal. Yes, Nagato was a part of his goal, whether he knows it or not. As Naruto then jumped off the tower, as he started to dive down, Konan walked off to the edge as her paper wings extended before she flew after him. Today was the day, because after this, the world will come to know about Naruto Uzumaki and the path that he has chosen. The entire world will come to understand what pain and suffering can do to a person. The entire world's gonna shake off his access. Danzo, the elders, the people that once feared him so much, that hated him for the beast that he carried. How would they feel now, knowing that that very man is a part of the group that is full up of S-rank missing nins? And the thing is, despite many of them posing challenging power, their power doesn't even compare to what he can do. Today, many hearts are going to shatter, many tears are going to weep when they finally see and understand Naruto Uzumaki is no longer the same as he used to be. But guys, if you ain't subscribed right here, if you want to see part of this, to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on the bell notifications stay posted. But I'm off now. See you guys soon. Peace.